Hi everyone, and welcome to Glitch 2600. This is our Tech Tuesday / Tech TV. We're still trying to work on a name, and I would love your help for that. Obviously, our happy hour is GH2 or GH squared for Glitch Happy Hour. Super advanced and tricky on coming up with the name there. But for our kind of Tech Tuesdays, Tech Thursdays, we don't always want to be stuck to Tuesdays and Thursdays, so don't want to call it Tech Tuesday if it becomes a Tech Friday. So if you have a suggestion for a name, post it in the comments and let us know. We would love that help. And or message me on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, leave a comment on that on there, on the video. Either way, wherever you're watching it, let me know if you come up with a cool idea. I'll, of course, give you credit if you want. If you don't want credit, say, don't give me credit. And I won't give you credit then. But if you're new out there, say hi. Otherwise, I'll let you know. I'm Glitch, aka Brian, and I'm the tech that's going to be here answering questions as you have them. So if you have a technical question, I'm here to help you. Then while I'm thinking of it, just want to let you guys know, of course, we'd love for you to subscribe to us on YouTube. You can use that handy dandy link at the bottom, or if you don't want to type all of that in, just click, take your smartphone, hover it over that little QR code right there, if I can point, and it will ask you if you want to go there. You'll say yes, and then you can subscribe. Otherwise, if you're on YouTube, you can come find us on Facebook, Glitch 2600. You can kind of see it right over there. It's all one word. You'll find us. But again, if you have these questions, I'm here to help and would love to help you. I'll pop that down so that I have anything else showing on the screen that we don't want to show on there. But like I said, again, love the help. Give you a little bit more background. We do have our happy hours. That's where we geek out over craft beer, wine, cider, mead, sometimes some cocktails, and we just have a good time. We try to do that normally weekly. It might be every other week. We had our longest episode of that ever because we had a guest come in, and that was a lot of fun. But at 3+ hours, that was a little much. So we won't be going that long in the future. So if you caught that, sorry for how long that went. It was a lot of fun though, and we'll do that. Otherwise, you can watch our other bits of the program. We have our Glitch Bits and Bytes. The bits are little bits of information that are only anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes long to tell you how to do certain things. It's kind of like a mini Tech Tuesday, but instead of you asking the question, I'm just going to guess what it is and pop something out there, like how to turn on off your AirDrop properly on your phone to keep it secure, different ways for that. Or, how to turn on off your Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, how to connect to Bluetooth. Different things like that. It could be photography tricks. What's aperture priority? Just a little bit on there where our Glitch Bites are in-depth, where we deep dive into a subject. So that one, I always use the example of wireless. That's where we'll cover what is Wi-Fi 6? What's a mesh? Do you want a mesh? Do you have IoT devices or the Internet of Things at your house? And would it be important for you to have a mesh or not? What's the coverage? What does that AC 3200 or 25, all those, what does that mean? That's our bites. Right now, you'll find our League of Legends one out there. So if you're a gamer or have a gamer in the house and you want to be able to talk the same language, go out there. You'll see our playlist on Facebook and you'll see it on YouTube where we pretty much just start deep diving in there. We have an in-house expert and he talks about the entire interface, and there's 2 episodes. If you're on YouTube, we don't have the second one up there yet. Had a small technical issue, so had to re-edit the video where Facebook kept that copy. So we'll be uploading that soon, and we'll have more episodes. But there'll be more than just gaming too. But that's the background. So if you're new out there, if you're not new out there and you're just watching, please say hi. We'd love to know you're out there, and make new friends. But aside from that, like I said, if you do have technical questions, please go ahead and ask those. I'm happy to help, happy to answer those questions. If you're not comfortable doing it now live, you can message me on Facebook and I'll find it and answer it on the next one. You can answer it on here if you're catching it on the replay, or ask it on here and I'll catch it on the replay, and we'll answer those questions then too. Otherwise, you can ask now and it'll be live, and I'll answer it live so you can get your answers there. And in case you're curious, I've got over 20 plus years of tech experience, certified in lots of different areas. Professional photographer, also, and a certified professional photographer. Worked with videography. So I'm happy to tell tonight I'm using a one light setup. So in the past we've been using two. Tonight I'm using a one light setup. There's one light right in front, which I can turn around and show you guys if anyone's curious. I'm also using just a single mic and GoPro today. You know, just a simple setup because this is just our simple Q&A time. And again, like I told everyone, if you have a hint or an idea for renaming our Tech Tuesday shows to something that didn't use Tuesday in it, we're leaning towards Tech TV. It's kind of a throwback to something I used to like a long time ago. There was Tech TV, and but I don't know if that quite denotes question and answers. I guess it could just be Tech Q&A, but that doesn't seem as much fun. But all right, well, if no one's going to ask questions, I'm just going to go in and start talking about some different things I think is important to know technology-wise to help, you know, the general population out there. So I'm going to launch up the iPad. So I get this question from time to time because aside from being security and infrastructure, I've also worked web design and web development and all that. So a lot of times while working on a website, you'll have someone go to the screen and go, well, I don't see your changes. Well, that's because every time you go to a web page, there's lots of little bits to it. So when you go to that web page, it's not just one image that comes down. You know, when there's a logo in the corner and a menu here, those are sliced into little bits. You probably have a little bit of that menu, and it might be text for that one, or the logo's a little image, and then bar underneath it might be an image, might be what we call CSS, cascading style sheets. It could be just a little band. And that gets downloaded, little bits at the site, little scripts, everything in one shot. So it's all these little chunks that get pulled down, and then it keeps it there. Your machine doesn't necessarily go through and clear those. It just, if it's Internet Explorer, every once in a while, it's going to try to clear it out. Your browsers normally, if it thinks that there's a new version, will try to do it, but it's a computer, and computers make mistakes. You would think they wouldn't, but they were coded by humans, and humans make mistakes. So it's important to note when that happens, if you go to a website and stuff's not quite working right or not quite looking right, you know, but more specific, if it's not quite working right, if you go to a website and you just can't, you know, do a checkout and can't do the other stuff, clear your cache. So, and you can do this on an iPad too. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over and show the handy dandy iPad here. But if we switch over and look here, when you go down to your Safari, which obviously I scrolled way too far, you'll have a Safari setting. And in here, you'll have options for clearing your web history and website data. So when you go in there, you have some options, but when you go in there, you can choose individual or to clear it all. And so you would normally pick clear, and that will clear, you know, the history for your iCloud account, or if you're on a iDevice or Apple device. If you're on an Android, you'll find the same type of stuff if you go into your settings. If you don't see it there, the second spot that you can, I mean, if you go down to advanced, you can go straight to website data and delete individual websites. But if you're also using something like Chrome, you can go into Chrome and find the settings. And you can have Chrome on your iPad. I don't think I have mine loaded up on here. But you can go into there and under settings. On a PC, Mac, it'll be in the same general section. And I'm going to flip back over, you know, to this. I'm going to, for fun, kind of show a new, let me pop up a new window. And I'm going to flip over to it so that we can enjoy it. So let me flip here, maybe. I'm going to go ahead and switch to screen share mode. And if we go here, you should be able to see if I go up to the Safari menu and down to Preferences, you'll see the same type of stuff. So you'll have tabs. It'll look just like a normal one, or just kind of like the iPad. You'll have extensions there, websites, privacy, but you see where it says Manage Web Data. So you have a few here where you can go through, your tabs, all that. But in that Manage Web Data, you have the option to clear out and delete some of those cookies there. Mine are generally already cleared. But that just kind of shows you can go through and do that there. See that where mine says remove history after 1 year. That's where you can switch this and have it remove after 1 day if you want. I don't find that to be overly useful, even your downloaded items. But on Safari, there's a quick menu where you can go up here under Safari and just do clear history. And that's how you can clear out that cache and history. So I'm going to switch back here to this menu and come back to me. And that's one way you can do it. If you're in Chrome, so I'm going to launch that up in the background. Hopefully not use up too much processing power. And we'll bring up my references there, and then I'll show you guys. All right, so let's flip back here. Hopefully you can see. I'm still sharing that screen. Excellent. So in Chrome, you can go to Settings, and it'll be under Privacy and Security, and you'll see where you can clear browsing data. So if you were to click that, the important thing that you'll see is a lot of times it'll be on Basic, and it'll say time frame or time range. And Firefox has the same type of setting. And what'll happen is it'll only say the last hour, the last 24 hours. I like going to advanced and picking everything when I'm having this problem where a website's not working right or where it's just not updating the look. But I'll go and choose all time, because what'll happen is it'll try to pick over the last hour, 2 hours, 7 days, but you don't know how old that file, those little bits, how long ago it was downloaded. So if that's what's causing a problem, if it's your first time on a site, you could probably clear the last hour. But when in doubt, choose all time. For Firefox, you'll see from the beginning of time is what it'll say, which I think is pretty funny. But you can go in there and clear it. That'll actually also get you back some of your hard drive space. Well, not much. I'm not saying you're going to save gigs of data unless that's all you do is surf. Additionally, you can come up to the Chrome menu and do clear browsing data. It's the same type of stuff. So let's cancel that out. Flip back over to me. Hi, everyone. But that's what happens, like I said, explaining how a website works, where it downloads little bits here and there, little, as you go to the internet, like if there's a logo up here, that's a different download. If this light over there was a picture, it'll download a little bit of that, and it has to load that whole page. And a lot of times bits get reused, and that's what speeds up the web page. So when you clear it, don't be surprised if the first time you go to a web page, it has some little bit of white, and then it kind of downloads everything. The faster your internet connection, the less you'll notice it. But then if you're having trouble like with a checkout or anything like that, it will cause it, hopefully, if it was just a bad downloaded script, it will now be cleared out, and you could probably check out. You would be surprised, or you might not be surprised, but most people would be surprised how often that little trick fixes a web page. Clearing that cache can do so much whenever there's a problem. It's one of the first things, we joke around as techs and go, hey, did you try turning it off and on again for computers? Essentially, clearing the browser cache is the same as turning it off and on again for the browser. Especially you could go one step farther, clear the browser cache, close the browser, go file quit if you're on a Mac, or actually close out, make sure all the windows are closed on a PC. On IE, you go Tools, Internet Options, or the little gear, Internet Options if you need to clear out your cache, but then file quit and make sure it's all closed. Then when you go back in, it's like it's brand new. It's like a brand new baby at that point. So, I know no one actually asked that question, but I've ran into it multiple times. I've helped my friends at Wine Styles. That's something that we've had to do to speed up some of their websites. There's lots of times where that's come in handy. My kids, when they run into a problem, clear the cache. I have problems on a web page. I clear the cache. I tend to try not to let it store a whole lot, and that's the next part. You know, and really, I'm going to get on my soapbox as a security guy. Don't store your passwords in your browser. The reason why, you'd also be slightly surprised how often I can go to someone's browser when they're and bring up those passwords as clear text. That means I don't have to type anything to read what your password is. So if I ran up to your computer and was helping you out, even if let's say I was the Best Buy tech, or the old CompUSA tech, or any tech at your house, I could go into your saved passwords, and only now does Safari and some of the other ones say, hey, you got to type your password first. But once it's in there, you can see all of the passwords. But in the old days, and if they haven't updated their browser, if you haven't updated your browser or your OS, then what would happen is, as a tech, I could just pull that file. Chrome, Firefox, all of them have had that problem. They store in a file, and that file can be hacked off of the computer, and then with enough time, crack it. If you're going to do something like that, I much would rather you go get an actual password manager. I use the the number one password, .com, and I use that. It's great. I think it's $60 a year, and I can have 5 family members have it, and we can have a shared vault. I can have my own. It can still autofill. I have one password that unlocks the vault, and then each website has its own. So even if someone got in, it has military grade encryption, and even if you got your hands on the file, it would take years upon years upon years to crack it. Where the other ones that are in the browser, not quite. It's not that hard to actually break those and crack them. So when in doubt, I actually am not a big fan of the autofill. The only autofill forms I use in the browser are my name and sometimes address. Stuff that you could pretty much find on public record. That's it. But I do put have a credit card stored and identity information in my 1Password to autofill because it is encrypted. And I know at that point I can have it autofill securely. If we go one step farther, I'm also a big advocate of Apple Pay, because what you don't know is when you use Apple Pay, it doesn't use your credit card per se. It uses your credit card as in the back-end banking info, but the receiving side does not get your credit card number. It makes a one-time use credit card number. Great, because what's one of the problems? People skimming the credit card in between and then just reusing and reusing it. Well, if it was a one-time gift card, how are they going to reuse it? They can't. That's what's nice about it. It's secure. So I'm a big advocate of using it there, because if I go up to McDonald's and do that, it doesn't matter if they have a skimmer because they can't redo it. I have to be there. It's a time generation. If I hold my phone through the site, nice thing with computer or with the new Apple Pay for it is if I do it on my laptop and type it in, it'll pop up on the watch and go, hey, do you need to approve this? Or on my phone, and I have to Face ID it. Samsung Pay is pretty much exactly the same. They both copy and do each other's stuff. I don't care if you're a Samsung person or an Apple person. When it came to photography, I was both a Canon and a Nikon person. I was Nikon film, or I used a Canon film for a bit, and then I was mostly Nikon film because they were the king. Then I'm still Canon digital, and I have a Nikon digital, a small mirrorless for there, and I've looked at Sony's. It doesn't, for me, it's whichever tool works best for you. They're all kind of the same. It's where you start and how you use it. If I've used Android and I have an iPhone, so I use a lot of Apple products, so it just makes sense to keep within some of the ecosystem. But that's just a little extra information, a little extra security, question for it. We can go over how to set up Apple Pay if people are interested on there. We can go into more in depth on there, but that was just an fun little if someone's having trouble with your browser. And then the extra tip of get a password manager. Like I said, 1Password is one. There's Dashlane. There's LastPass. I haven't used the other ones just because they've been hacked at least once, but barely. And they've learned from those mistakes. So LastPass isn't going to see that again. They're very reputable. So LastPass is definitely a good one. Dashlane. And I am still just a very big advocate of 1Password. Works on Android, PC, Mac, Apple device, autofills on a lot of those. Browser extensions, works in multiple browsers. I use it for all sorts of stuff. You can even put secured notes in there. So if I want to not forget a recipe, I can put it in there. Not that it's important, but I've put other notes in there. So again, if you're new, say hi. Would love to see. And just reintroduce again. I'm Glitch, aka Brian, and I'll be answering all your tech questions. And then while I'm thinking of it, please, please, please come and subscribe to us on YouTube. So we're trying to grow that and do a little bit more there. Eventually we'll be, live streaming to both platforms. And if you don't want to click or try to type in that link, just hover your smartphone over that little QR code down there. There we go. And it will ask if you want to go there. And you can say, yes, I want to go there. Yeah, I want to go subscribe to Glitch and do all the fun stuff and catch the happy hours that are so fun for it because, trust me, they are fun. Like I said, that last one was a little long. So, sorry again for that. They won't normally be that long. And just for fun, I did go ahead and pop it in the comments, the link on how to get there. But if you're on YouTube, then just find us on Facebook. So you can subscribe there and just use the same address as that right there. So Glitch 2600, all one word, and you can find us and enjoy. But if you're new out there, again, say hi. If you have tech questions, this is your time to ask those tech or geek questions. They don't have to just be tech, geek. I've been a geek my entire life and can probably answer the question for you. Drone, videography, photography, computers, mobile device stuff, microphones. I owned a music store for a while, so there's a good chance I could answer some questions there. Although there's people better. If I don't know the answer, I will track it down, answer it in the next, and let you know. So, again, welcome everyone. And I hope you guys like the little tips that I did just a little bit ago about your browser cache and how to clear that properly, why you'd want to clear it, what's a good password manager, all of that. And then a reminder, we will be doing those Glitch bits and bytes. So we already have the bytes out there. So if you're wanting to learn more about League of Legends, we already have those bytes out there. We'll be having more bytes, those kind of 30-minute, 40-minute deeper dives into topics. It won't all be gaming, and we'll get that out there. So answer that question. When's the next Glitch happy hour? It'll probably be this weekend. Probably. I got to go check the schedule, look through. We've got the next set of beers kind of planned. It's not going to be a Confluence only episode this time. We had a lot of Confluence ones for last time. We have a few beers that we've already put to the side. We are debating on whether we're going to do those GH2s or GH squares. If we're going to keep doing that every week or if we're going to back off to every two. But we've been liking the weekend. If that looks or works good for everyone else, let me know. We've kind of gone back and forth on whether it should be Saturday night or Sunday night. We can even do a different day. Fridays just get a little bit busy. So, because we do stuff with Wine Styles, helping them do their live stream show or live stream virtual tasting that they do or virtual happy hour that Wine Styles does. We do those on Friday nights. So if you like this or want even a little bit more in depth on all things wine, the guys at Wine Styles know so much. And it's Wine Styles West Glen. And go check them out. You'll learn so much. Matt, Sarah, and Brian there are so much fun. Matt's got so many stories that it's just awesome. I've learned so much from him over the years. But yeah, our GH2 are our Glitch happy hours where we talk about craft beer, wine. We make sometimes cocktails on the fly, mead, cider. We'll probably be posting up in the next, I'd say in the next day or two. If we're going to do one this weekend, I suspect we are. We'll probably post up which beers we're going to do. So if you want to get the beers and follow along, there is a couple from out of the country that we've been debating on doing. So one of those will be kind of hard to get. But if you're in the West Des Moines area, you could go to West Glen, and I know the wine styles, and I know they have those ones. But yeah, if there's a day or time that works better for you guys, let us know. Just like this our Tech Tuesday might not always be on Tuesdays. So if you have an idea for a better name, I was still leaning towards Tech TV, but I don't have to. I'm just throwing names out there. I like the GH squared one for happy hour, and I like the bits and bytes for the small bits of information, for those little 5-minute tips, and bytes for the longer. Let's do. I won't post that up there, but yeah, we can do that. I would love for everyone to come there. Now, next time we're not going to do a 3-hour post. We'll cut off. We can hang out for 3 hours afterwards, but we're going to do maybe an hour and a half happy hour, unless everyone's really partying. If I have a whole bunch of people all on at the same time partying it up, then we'll keep going. Eventually, Facebook makes us stop at 4 hours, but I'm not going to plan on having 4-hour ones every week just because I'm pretty sure at some point Facebook will not like me. But again, right now though, you're on Tech Tuesday or our Tech TV one. But by all means, please follow us on the other. And if you have those tech questions, now's the time to ask. Otherwise, if you catch earlier in it, or on the replay after this is done, you'll catch some tips on clearing your browser cache, why you want to do that, what's a good password manager, what's kind of good about that, and some little tips here and there. Oh, we'll post that up there. Does anyone have any tech questions that you guys need answered? Anything that you've been messing around with? I've been looking at all sorts of new toys that I need to maybe not be looking at. Like the Canon M50 camera out there, the Blackmagic A10 Mini Pro if you want to do live streaming with 4 HDMI inputs, which I've lost everyone from a geeky point of view, but it's how your cameras come in. You can bring in PCs that way, Macs. And so right now I use something called a Cam Link from Elgato, which is great, but when you use a laptop, you can only have one Cam Link per laptop. If you buy a second one, it's not because I don't have the right ports, it's because I only have one, what we call USB bus. And that means it can't enumerate new ones. I have to buy a different brand of each one. And the Cam Link is around 130, 150 range, somewhere in there. If I bought another one, it's going to be around 200, where eventually it makes sense just to have a box that brings in 4 instead of one that brings in 1. So my Cam Link is a nice little mini one that plugs in the side, where the A10 is a little bit bigger and has more bells and whistles and geeky stuff that I want to play with. Of course, that means the A10 Mini is 300 and the A10 Mini Pro is 590 something. And neither of them are in stock right now, but that's some of the geeky stuff I'm looking at. Which one makes... Yeah, that could be a tech question. A stock app, as in tracking stocks? Well, there's a guy I follow that I really like. His name's Meet Kevin. And if you're on YouTube, check him out. It's Meet Kevin, MEET, and he knows tons. He's a really genuine guy. Knows tons about financial, and he's following the whole stimulus package and all that. But there's an app he likes. So there's Robinhood. Robinhood's a pretty good one. Works on multiple ones, and you can get bits of stock instead of having to buy a whole stock. Because let's say Amazon is $1,000. Who has $1,000 to buy one stock? So ones like Robinhood let you buy micro pieces of a stock. So that means you can say, I want $100 worth of of that stock, well, 5 other people can get $100 worth of it, and then you almost have enough to buy it. It gets bought. It's kind of group funding of that stock, but that means when it goes up, you still get to sell and get that money. Well, that's one. He likes one called Webull, like W-E and then bull, like whether bear or bull, from a financial point of view. And I've heard really good things about it. And I believe both Robinhood and Webull both have a thing where I think if you invest 100, you get $100 back. So or you get an extra 100 or something like that. He has a thing on there, Meet Kevin on YouTube, and he talks about that. And one of them, I think, even demonstrated that software. I don't have it on mine. I'm old school and just use the built-in one on the Apple just to watch my stocks. And then I used a lot of times the investing software that I used was I was with Edward Jones. So Edward Jones had stuff on their site. It wasn't as quite real time. Now I'm looking to reinvest, and so I'm going back and forth between Robinhood and now Webull because I didn't know about Webull. There's other ones out there, though. I mean, there's from all the top people. There's an E-Trade one. E-Trade, to me, they've updated, and if you're really, really advanced in that type of stuff, it'll do well for you. If you're not really advanced and you're trying to get into it, I think something like Robinhood or Webull is a much better one in how that they approach it, because they're not expecting you to be a financial wizard with it yet. Where E-Trade is like, oh, you can see the stocks up and down, and then here's these graphs that are so hard to read that even me with a physics degree and computer science goes, dang, just a second, let me go get my slide rule and figure this out. That's no fun. I want to see my stuff go up and make money, and that's what I want, and I want to be watching quite as much. So I would suggest looking at ones like Webull or Robinhood. I know there's a few other ones. I'm trying to remember. I'm going to quickly pop on, because the nice thing is from the App Store point of view, if it's on the Apple, it's normally on the Android too. Not always, but it definitely is with Samsungs. For the most part, they do. There's the big ones tend to work across both. So I'm doing a quick search because I want to remember which one I was looking at before. So like I said, there's the stock app, Yahoo Finance. Yeah, one of the big ones that still gets the most is Robinhood. I'm going to pop over and kind of show. I really, really, really like, if I can get this to flip back. Flip back over to this feed. Maybe. There we go. We're going to flip back over here. So what I really like, there's this other one like Think or Swim by TD Ameritrade, but see how it kind of looks like it's got a lot of stuff that looks fancy, but not quite what I would be going with. And here's that Webull. But let's just look. Robinhood is a pretty good one. It's got 1.6 million subscribers or downloads and a ton of really good ratings. So you can see that's where you can start investing with just $1 because it does that micro investment, which you'll hear people say either way on it. You know what? When you have $10, $20, $30,000 to invest at first, then there's probably better. When you're just wanting to start out with like 1,000 or a couple hundred, this is probably the better one because they have news, easy to learn. Be careful of crypt key or cryptocurrency. What I really like is they give you the first stock is on them. So once you invest, you get a free stock from them, from Robinhood. But yeah, you can buy and sell crypto commission free. Be careful with crypto. It could be up $3 tomorrow and then negative, or actually up $10 5 minutes ago and down, 60 in, 10 minutes. So it's one of those you got to really watch closely. But Robinhood's a pretty good one. And like I said, it does that micro stock where you can say, hey, I want some of Apple, but I don't want to pay, $1,000. Or Amazon, I only want to put $100 down, so you can have 10% of Apple, 10% of Amazon, and then you can keep doing that. Eventually, you have one full stock, but it gives you buying power. You don't have to wait till you have that 1,000 because it's that group sharing part. And yeah, I know there's other ways they have to make their money on it, so they have stuff. But that's the one I would look at, and you saw it looks pretty easy to use. There's Market Watch is also a good one if you just want to watch the market, but if you want to do it. But here's that other one, Webull, that I know Meet Kevin is a big one on. Like I said, he knows a lot of stuff. So if we bring that up just to kind of show, it goes into, it shows ask, bid, where it's at, shows a history. I know Robinhood does the same type of stuff. Their graphs are a little bit more, geeky for it. So, it's going to have it's not a hard learning curve. He shows it's easy to do, but it does grow a little bit easier. It shows that trading hours, and you can still buy those bits of a stock. And it has, practice with paper trading. You can kind of see on there. So it gets a lot of really good sets from Bloomberg and all those. I would kind of suggest looking at those two if it was me. And since you asked my advice, that's what I'm going to say is that's the one I would go with. Is I'd probably lean towards Robinhood first. But if not, just go check out Meet Kevin on YouTube. And Meet Kevin, and then look for his Webull one. He sometimes has like a quick thing at the end. He's just a good guy to follow anyway if you want to learn different things about investments, what's going on with stimulus checks, all sorts of information. He's a pretty cool guy to follow. I've been following him now for a little over a month or two and picked up lots of good information. And he posts frequently in a nice little 10, 15-minute chunks of info. So, but I hope that was helpful. And hopefully someone else who catches this on the replay also finds that helpful, because that's the type of stuff we'll go into. If that's not, if you guys want more in-depth, let me know, and I will start working on it and track down some. I'll give it a shot, and I'll try out some of the software and tell you what I think is good or bad about it. Like I said, I used to do these types of reviews all of the time, so I don't mind doing that. Again, just a reminder, of course, subscribe, like, all that fun stuff. There's the QR code to go find us on YouTube. Otherwise, if you're on YouTube, come back and follow us here on Facebook. Please, thank you. Tell your friends if they have tech questions. Heck, if you're a tech that just doesn't want to answer your friends' tech questions, send them here. I'm happy to answer those. I like doing that. This is my getaway and fun geek out where I get to answer those questions and think on it. If I don't know it, like I said, I'm happy to say when I don't know or refer to someone like Meet Kevin who knows something more than me, but I'll also track it down if that doesn't quite work, and we'll get a farther and more in-depth answer. I'll just post it on the next one, and then I'll let you know, hey, I found your answer. Come check it out. And you can watch it live or on the replay, whichever way you're comfortable with. But yeah, I love answering those questions. So if you've got grandma who's always asking you those tech questions, pop her on. Good luck. I know what, how hard that could be, because just getting her on the channel to ask those questions, but let her email the questions to you and you can send them to me. I don't mind answering. Or moms or everyone, not a problem. I would say kids, but they seem to know sometimes more about tech than a lot of us. In fact, there's a good joke about the 12 o'clock flasher that I love seeing on there, and I'm trying to remember which comedian did it. But basically, he's working tech support. It's a help desk support, and he's like, I need you to click this screen. No, click this screen. No, click. No, that's not a computer. Why are you turning off the lights? And he's going up, and he goes, and he leans over to his colleague, puts him on hold. He's like, just a minute, man. Just 1 minute. Leans over and goes, hey, we've got a 12 o'clock flasher. And the the new guy there's and what's that? He's like, that's where every clock in their house flashes 12 o'clock because they can't set the clock. And what I love about that comedy bit is he turns around and goes, there's only one thing we can do. And he gets back off hold and goes, hey, yeah, do you have a kid in the house? 6, 7, 7? Perfect. Can you put her on? As soon as she comes on, he goes, oh, hey, sweetie. Yeah, I'm going to need you to reset the PC RAM bus. And then if you could just go ahead and reconfigure that through and maybe expand the cache. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, no, that's a good idea too. Yeah, defrag won't hurt anything. You could turn around. Oh, and while you're at it, set the clock. Oh, perfect. Thanks, sweetie. And then gets off, showing that the kid was more technically advanced. And I always love that. So I would say you could send the kids here to ask those questions, but they're probably more likely to like the gaming bites than they'll actually need answers for clearing their cache. In fact, I'm pretty sure my daughter and my sons know how to do that. If anything, they might lose it as they get older. So as they get teenagers, they might need to be reminded of that. But I always think that's funny. But if you're new here, again, please say hi. We're probably not going to broadcast a whole lot longer unless people have questions. I'm trying to keep these a little bit shorter. This has been a 45. I kind of want to start trying to keep the Tech Tuesdays or Tech, unless someone comes up with a better name, keep those down to an hour. But this again is where you can ask those geek questions, and I'm happy to answer them live on air and get you the answers to the problems maybe you're having with that computer. Different things that you need to know about the speed of your wireless, and your internet, what can make things a little bit better, all those. There's even some aluminum foil tricks for your Wi-Fi. I don't know if people knew that. There was a really good article out there that you could speed up and what we call waveform, your wireless to be a little bit faster just by putting an aluminum hat on it. Give it a shot. Do a search for it, aluminum and wireless, and you'll see people made this little wave pattern. So people made a different one and just shaped it and caused it to bounce around the house a little bit more, and it worked. It got people more speed. So, but sometimes too, as a moral to the story, I'm helping Wine Styles. They were having trouble with their live feed crashing, and it happened to be they had a very old Airport Extreme. And it's not that it didn't work, it's just the technology didn't have full 5 gigahertz. And so there's 2.4 and there's 5 gigahertz. And you have everything from AC technology to all these other ones that we'll get into a whole bytes episode on. But it just couldn't handle the number of devices coming out. It didn't have as many antennas. When they bought it, there wasn't wireless power switches. Like right now, I could command the switch over there to turn on and off just with my voice, because that light switch in my theater room is, commandable. But that means it's on wireless, and everything in my house pretty much is. My garage door, everything. Well, back in the day, that wasn't how it was, when the Airport Extremes came out. So having something like a mesh or ones that have more antennas help, because you don't think about it, but all these wireless have antennas, and the number of wireless devices, it can only send and receive so much. It's not like the radio tower when you think about it and go, well, they're radio waves. Yes, they're radio waves, but unlike your local radio station that's just broadcasting out, this has to be able to send and receive, which if you think of it like number of car ports, there's only so many car ports for it to come in and out. Otherwise, you're waiting to park. Like a Sonic drive-through, is, probably the best analogy, because you're waiting. If you want your food, you sometimes got to wait till someone else gets out. So if there's more booths, more antennas, better it is. If you have a lot of stuff like that, then that's one of the reasons why I run a mesh. I have so much that I've got to cover, and we'll get into details of what a mesh is on bytes. But when you see meshes like Orbeez and Velos, or Veloops, I think is what they're called, Arrows, Google Home sets, that's just multiple ones that have what we call a backhaul together. Let's see here. What would you recommend as far as a modem to replace existing Mediacom equipment? Yeah. Consistently download at 5. Yeah. Mediacom is notorious for not giving the best modems. I actually like the Motorola surfboards, but on top of that, Netgear makes a cable modem. So you can get a cable modem. You can actually get a Nighthawk cable modem combined unit if you want. I'm not a big fan of fully combined units because it always makes me think something's going to crash between them. And I would rather be able to replace a router separately from a modem. But Netgear makes a really good one. I used to buy when I had MediaCom. I used to buy buy the Netgear one. I've also had the Motorola. They both have worked really well for me and worked for a long time, and were faster than the surfboard they did, because they only bought the surfboard that was the like $20 one that they charge you $100 for. I instead would rather go spend $50 for a nicer one and come out ahead. But the Netgear ones are really nice. You can also put them, make sure if they do have a built-in router and you have this Netgear, put it in something called bridge mode so that you don't have dual routers kind of running. Unless you're doing advanced network setups, it's just going to do something that we call double NAT. And that's going to slow you down just a little, not much, because you're still getting a benefit from it. But that's what I do here. I run in transparent bridge is what that's called. And for that, my DSL modem instead is set to not be a router. So they send it. I spent $150 for their little one, but I turn it off and use my Orbi for that one and have my Orbi handle all of that signal. And so the modem is just a modem. The more stuff it has running on it, they don't come with a lot of memory on them compared to like an Orbi or the Nighthawk that has way more memory. So the more stuff you can have the modem not be doing, the better. Now I will say so the modem is one thing, and you want to trade that out. Not just that, then you don't have to pay if you're doing their lease one. It'll save you $5. I know they used to charge $5 a month for the modem, which I was like, well, you know what? I plan on having you for at least a year. So if I'm going to have you for a year, it's cheaper if I just spend $50 on a modem, on a better modem. I mean, they're going to charge $100, but I'll go buy one that looks better. Any DOCSIS, yeah, 3.1, I believe is what the number is now. Can always find you the actual one. But any of those should have pretty good. In fact, I'm gonna bring something up because I want to go check Best Buy's website, because I know not that they're the end all be all for where I would go for it. I just know they've got some stuff on there. So if I do my cable modem, Aris, that's what it is. Aris is a really good one. ARRIS. They make an amazing one that I've used in the past. It almost had too many settings though, but it was extremely fast when I tested it. And that one worked out pretty good. But here, I'm going to flip over to this again. But see, this is what I was talking about, where they kind of have a dual band router. It's almost like a Nighthawk, not quite together. But yeah, you can get these Rs, but here's another DOCSIS. So here's the 110, super high DOCSIS 2. And it has way too much on it. You can find these cheaper than this 119 version. Because I know, here we go. There's the Motorola's at the 79 is a pretty good for the bands and how it does it. But here's the DOCSIS 3.1. And that's nice. But really, you can get by with this $99 one, and it would be way 10 times better than what you have. But yeah, there's a bunch of these. Here's a Nighthawk, that's what I was saying, where it's all built in. Now, no one wants to go spend $369. You already have that piece. So you can get just the modem for cheaper. Like I said, here's the DOCSIS router. And even though it says router, just turn off the router part, and it's a better modem than what they give you. But yeah, you can find a bunch of these. Like I said, the Motorola ones, I don't mind the Motorola. I think it does pretty good. I like the RS and the Netgear a little bit better. But you can save some money with the Motorola one. It goes pretty good. I'm pretty sure I've seen these cheaper on Amazon. Best Buy doesn't always, but luckily they will price match. But yeah, I would, like I said, I like this RS. This RS one right here, this white $89 one, is a pretty nice one. And your DOCSIS, you got 32 by 8. That's the number of channels coming in. And so it's going to be a pretty powerful little beast right there. In fact, there's a reason why. Look at its ratings. 7,754 pretty much gave it almost 5 stars. That's because RS does a pretty good job. The next one is the Netgear, but really, even this little 16 by 4 is good, but for not much more, you get these more channels, coming in. And it's still pretty basic on the back. I mean, it's just one coming in for your signal and then going out to the modem. Now, some people will say, "Oh, it's got gigabit." Well, that becomes more important on something like cable modem, where sometimes they get gigabit speeds. DSL, unless they switch to fiber, you're not getting it. Don't spend money. Spend money for gigabit for your computers talking to each other. Don't worry about it for the WAN port, the wide area network. LAN is local area network. That's your local home, your computer's talking to computer. So if my laptop talks to my desktop, yeah, I want gigabit. I want that to go as fast as possible. If it's just going out to the internet and I only have a 100 megabit link, what's gigabit going to do for me other than, I guess, get on and off a little bit faster, but not always $100 faster. But yeah, this one's a pretty good one. Like I said, it's got a pretty good processor and tuner. That's where you see that, where I was saying in those features, provides 32 downstream and 8 upstream channels. That's where you're seeing up here, where you see that 32 by 8. The higher that number, that's those downstream and upstream channels. And it's kind of like on, like I was saying, for a wireless, how many ports are open on are able for it to park, like a car park. So that one's a pretty good one for $89. Hope that so I'm going to switch back to me, because I just want to be large and in charge there. But yeah, the other thing you got to watch out. So if you went to an Aris and you're still not seeing much for speed, I can't say much because make sure I don't get trouble for some type of libel or something with them. But they have been notorious for not tuning their lines always correctly, and so they have boosters. There's a finite area when they hook up the cable. They attenuate the line, so the wavelength as it travels through, or the speed, has to be in a certain area. If it's too high, it's kind of like Goldilocks. Too hot and it's bad. Too cold and it's bad. So if there's not enough signal, then it's not going to be fast enough. It's going to drop packets. And when it drops packets, it will retransmit them, which will make everything seem slow. It's kind of like it constantly going, what'd you say? That's dropping packets. If that's too high, you'd think, oh, well, more power means it's got more power. It's going to be great. No, more power is the same type of thing. It's kind of now shotgun hosing it, and now the router's the other side's dropping the packets and going, you're speaking too fast. I only caught, but like that. I only caught every other word that you said. So if that's the case and you switch modems, one, you're still better off because you're not paying their monthly one, and you'll have a better that can handle more upstream and downstream. But two, so that part's still important, but then just have them come out and have them attenuate the line, and that'll probably get you more if the modem doesn't work. So those would be those two things I would do in order, because if you've already traded out the modem, they won't try to necessarily charge you a service fee, because they could turn around and say, oh, well, the line was a service fee and it's your modem. Well, if you trade out modems and it's still the same speed, take a speed test before and take a speed test after the modems, so you have the info, record it on the phone, whichever, so you have the proof, and then there you go. That's my suggestion from that point of view. Yeah. Only because I've had to deal with that company before, and I'm not always a fan. I do like their speeds. Unfortunately, they cap too much stuff when it comes to bandwidth monitoring, and with 3 kids that stream everything at the same time, I've watched all 3 watch an episode at my island of of the same show, different episodes at the exact same time on their devices, and then I'm streaming everything and cord cutter, all that. I would just run us out of the bandwidth on there, and I would be paying. So I only am kind of stuck to DSL because I don't want to pay for, I don't want to be monitoring my bandwidth usage or my capped usage. That reminds me of the old cell phone days where I only had, 200 minutes, and I don't want to be tracking that stuff for it. It's just not worth it. Otherwise, they'd get my business. I really wish we didn't have so much of a monopoly and that I could get fiber to my house. At one point, we fought to have Google Fiber in Des Moines, and they couldn't finish the paperwork, so it went to Kansas City. I wish we would have got it because I was part of that and wanted my fiber. Fiber to the door would be great. I'd pay for it now. Heck, I would pay extra for it right now, because I also help with live streaming. But sorry, I'm a coffee addict and I gotta get my coffee. Gotta get my fix. So I hope that helped for everything. Again, if you didn't get a chance to, earlier in the episode, we talked about, or earlier in the show, we talked about clearing your cache and why that's sometimes important. Password managers. We talked about stock trackers. Now we've talked about cable modems. It's been a relatively productive day. And, even if you're catching this on the replay, you can ask those questions. Message us on Facebook, and we'll answer it. If you don't want to be called out for it, just say, don't say my name, and then ask the question. I'll still message you and let you know when we answer it, and I'll probably give you a little hint if it's time sensitive before then. If you have a better name for our Tech Tuesday, because we don't always want to be necessarily on Tuesday, let us know. Whether it's Tech TV, I don't know if Tech Q&A sounds as much fun. Like I said, you can catch our happy hour. That's GH squared for Glitch Happy Hour. So 2 H's. And then we have our Glitch Bits and Bytes. We don't have the bits out there. I'm getting ready to record them. That's where we just spend about anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes on quick little things like turning on and off little things on your phone, your little laptop pieces, tiny things where Glitch Bytes are more going in depth on like everything about what's a downstream, what's that on the cable modem, what's, different things for your wireless router, things in general, types of camera, what's aperture and all that. So we have some for gaming out there right now, and we'll be expanding beyond gaming, but we'll also be adding more to that League of Legends series. So like I said, if you have suggestions for the Tech Tuesday, Tech TV type name, if you think Tech TV sounds cool, then we'll keep that. But make sure you catch us on YouTube. You can see the links in the past. We posted it in the chat. But like I said, if you have questions and you're catching us on the replay, you can still ask your questions there. You can post it on the videos. We'll find it. You can message us. We'll find it. If you're watching this replay on YouTube, you can post it in there. We'll answer those questions. And hopefully we'll be back on again. And you can ask those questions even when we're not live, and we'll catch it. If there's times that work better for everyone, give us suggestions if you think that, that be really great if we were doing this at a certain different day and different time. Let us know. We're still expanding, still learning, still building out the setup, and we welcome all of the feedback. So if there's no more tech questions or no more geek questions in general, photography, all that, then I'm going to thank you guys all for putting up with me today. And hopefully we'll catch you guys on the happy hour one. we'll post up that beer list. That might be this weekend, or we'll post it up before that, but the happy hour might be this weekend. We're just going to figure out which day and time. Look for that on the Facebook page if you want to follow along, aka drink along. Then go follow us there and check that out. And otherwise, have a good night. It's Taco Tuesday, so it's time for me to go get some food. So thanks, guys, and well, thank you, and we'll talk to you guys all soon.